Dear Alpha Female, it's not him, it's you. That's the name of a book by my next guest, which is described as a love letter to the accomplished and proud alpha females of the 21st century. Y'all know her. She has it all. The degrees, the career, the lavish lifestyle, all of the sky miles. But she does not have a successful relationship. Author Christal Jordan says, from one alpha woman to another, it is time for some serious self-reflection. Christal, we so appreciate you joining us here at the Griot. So let's start by defining whether or not an alpha female, as it relates to dating, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing, or does it depend?
I think it depends. First of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with being an alpha female. I define an alpha female as a woman that has leadership skills, that is career and goal driven, goal oriented, and someone that takes pride in what she's accomplished. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think when it becomes a problem is when we try to apply those same characteristics that push us forward in our career or in accomplishments that we're looking for in the workplace, and we try to apply those same characteristics to dating, and that's when the problem, sometimes arises.
Yeah. Now, I hear the critique that you make that is some of these alpha women, and I'm going to say we because I definitely identify as an alpha woman, we tend to have unrealistic expectations and lists, right? I'm not a heightist, but a lot of us want tall, we want cultured, we want college educated. That is on my list. We want earning, at this point, six figures is not even descriptive enough, right? People are wanting high six figures, if not even seven figures, and so on and so on. Christal, what's the advice of a woman that says, I know intellectually that those are too many things to ask for from one man because of many things, but just the marketplace does not provide many of them, period, right? The math ain't mathin'. But then this woman could also say, but honestly, if he's not educated at that level, if he's not having the income that would allow my lifestyle to maintain at least where it's at or more, I'm not as attracted. What does that woman do in that scenario?
Well, I think the first problem is a lot of times we build these fences and these high walls and high expectations because we're trying to protect ourselves, because underneath all that bravado and accomplishment is really a scared little girl that doesn't want to be hurt or taken advantage of. And I think that one of the things that drives alpha personalities is a fear of failure. I know for myself, I wrote this book because it described me and most of my friends. I come from an amazing tribe of accomplished women that are, our good girlfriends and an amazing support system. But most of us have come from a situation where we don't want to fail. We don't want to fail in the workplace. We don't want to fail when it comes to love. And so we create these unrealistic expectations to keep us safe. And what those things do is they keep us from being taken advantage of, but they also keep us from actually being loved and appreciated and cherished. And so what I would say is a lot of us need to reevaluate these lists, figure out what do you actually need in life? What exactly do you need him to be 6'3" for? I remember I went to a dating matchmaker and I'm 5'2", and one of my qualifications, I wanted him to be 6'3". And she said, Christal, why do you need all these extra inches? Like if he's 5'10", is he taller than you? And it's like,
not extra inches.
I needed extra inches, and we're
gonna leave it right there. Yeah, we're gonna leave it right there.
but seriously, a lot of times we create this because we are afraid. And so I would ask you, there's nothing wrong with having expectations, and I don't believe that we should settle. But I do think that we need to look for things in a mate that are actually going to lend to a happy life and actually lend to, us being fulfilled as a woman. If he has a PhD, does that mean you're going to have a better life with him than if he has a bachelor's degree? I don't know. I think each woman has to define that for herself. But I think it's important to actually put yourself in a realistic situation and figure out what your needs are, not your girlfriend's, not what you think is going to look good on paper, but what is actually going to feed your spirit.
Okay. Now, let's get to women and our ability to assess ourselves authentically. I do believe that a lot of women struggle with this one, Christal, right? So help give us some tools to really look in that mirror and say, okay, this is maybe the woman I aspire to be. This might be the woman I am 20% of the time, but this is the woman I really am. And this is really how I show up in romantic connection.
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is realize that that personality that we take into the workplace that often has managed to, push us forward and to provide success, that is not the same woman that we need to take on a date. I find that a lot of women are going on dates, and a lot of us are frustrated, specifically after having been through a lot of negative relationships. You go on that date and you're looking for what you can find in him to count him out. And you actually sit down on that first date with your checklist, and that energy comes across the table, And so I would suggest to women to, instead of finding out what is wrong with that guy, instead of looking for his flaws, try to enjoy the date, tap into that feminine energy. Do not go on a date right after you get off of work and you're still in that work mode. Go home, relax, allow yourself to slip into that feminine side that a lot of us don't get a chance to, that hat we don't get a chance to wear in the workplace. Those characteristics that are going to make you successful at work, you're going to have to tap into a completely different set of characteristics at home. You would not go for a job interview and talk about how you make an amazing quiche. That if you sat down with an employer and explained how you're such an amazing cook, that's not going to apply to you finding a job. And so I think in the same token, you have to realize being that boss chick on a date is not going to appeal to that man. It's not going to show him that you would be an amazing partner. So we have to be able to look at both sides and wear two different hats. You have to be able to code switch, if you will.
I have so many thoughts, Christal. I hear you, though. I do hear you. I want you to stay with us for much more discussion on this topic. We're going to have a discussion with Christal about how we can all attract the love that we want, whatever that is for us. Stay with us. You are watching The Griot.
New on The Griot, Masters of the Game.
Is there a moment of racism or microaggressions that you had to overcome?
There's a lot.
Sit down one-on-one with black people who dominate the game.
Whether it's a critic or some troll online or whatever it is, when I get on stage, none of it matters. And no one can reach me.
Right here on The Griot. Check your local listings.